Anyway, we got some good stuff coming up here today. But before we do that,
Bang, cowboy hat. Uh-oh.
we're going to talk about
Where'd we go?
Nashville, Tennessee. Was it 3 weeks ago?
It was like 2 weekends ago.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
gotta
I know like
hold these
time
on here.
flies.
I'm a cowboy. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, time flies. So 2 weeks ago, Jared and I, this is Jared Warren, by the way, and your man.
Ryan O'Connor.
Yeah, we like to introduce each other because if we did ourselves, it would just be vain.
Kind of tough.
We went up to Nashville to watch the Stadium Series game. It was the Tampa Bay Lightning first franchise Stadium Series game. Now, they've been doing the Stadium Series since 2003,
2004. They
something
talked
like
about
that.
it at the game. They haven't done many. Like, I thought it started later than that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because, like, the Stadium Series jerseys are kind of popular throughout the NFL, especially.
Well, this
if
is
you're
what, like 34 or something of all the stadium and of all time. This is like number 34 or something
like that. And the Lightning have never been in it. So I said, hey, my birthday was this month. We're going to Nashville. We're going to do it big. We got lit by watching the game.
Style.
It was
We got
awesome.
lit. There was honky tonks. There was dudes hanging outside of the thing, playing their guitars in Nashville. I love Nashville. It's one of my favorite cities.
They were. To elaborate on what you just said, you said dudes hanging out the thing.
Yeah,
there was
like little
bars.
the cut. Let's call it the cut.
No,
that's too hood.
there was like bars where people were playing live music.
They're called
at,
honky tonks.
but they were in
That's
the
why,
front
that's why I
of
said
like
honky tonk.
of like the window front, and the windows were non-existent. And
Yeah,
they were like playing in the street.
It was, yeah, it was like some sort of mix between the cut in the ghetto, and then like
It was
a
nothing like
Spanish conquistador hanging out the window with the guitar, playing a nylon string, singing over the city. It was like a mix between that.
I don't know where you were at, but we were in different places because it was nothing like that.
I'll tell you what was different places: Nashville before the game and Nashville after the game.
2 different places.
One was like one. After the game, it was like New Orleans on a Tuesday afternoon or Ybor City at like 11 p.m. on a Saturday night. And before, it was like
Probably
your family-friendly Kentucky town. You know, I mean, it was awesome. Before was definitely my vibe. People flooded the city afterward. Now, listen, forget all that. The point is, we went to the Stadium Series game. It was a great game. Of course, the Lightning won. Preds have a great team this year, though. There's no doubt. Saros played a great game. I don't know if they did Stars. Did they do Stars the game? I don't know if they did.
They did. I think he was the second star of the game.
I think he was the second star of the game. He played a great game.
There were some people at the game that weren't too happy with us, so I didn't really catch at the end of the game what was going on.
We got to tell this story. You know, it's story time here at the boat parade. So we're sitting here in the stadium, great seats, and now
for those of you in Tampa that have never been to Nashville before, to the Tennessee Titans Stadium at Nissan Stadium,
epic.
It is the same exact stadium as Raymond James Stadium.
Identical.
It is the same architect, built 1 year apart. So if you've ever been to Ray J, this is the exact same thing. To get an idea of the layout of we're watching a hockey game on Raymond James Stadium, but in Tennessee.
And they did have live country music throughout the whole thing and all the breaks and all the different stuff. Kofi Anderson was there. It's the guts and it's the glory. You know, that guy.
It's my favorite song.
Awesome. Incredible story behind that, you know, with whatever his name is.
They dedicated Chris Kyle's
that's right.
grave with that song when it first came out.
Incredible story. But Kofi Anderson was there. Miranda Lambert was there. Dierks Bentley was there. And they all played. Now, for me, I love country music, so the vibe was absolutely incredible. People ask, you know, what is the atmosphere like at a Stadium Series game? And it was like a Les Paul on the bridge pickup. You know what I mean? Like electric Nashville like vibe. Like it was very hard to explain. It was unlike anything I've ever experienced. You go to football games, different. Hockey game, different. Put them together. Sprinkle country music all over it. With some big old Nashville fans that want to punch you in the head, it makes this vibe. So story time here at the boat parade. We are there in these seats.
It's the second period.
It's the second period. Now, we in Tampa at Amalie, we like to stand and support the team. We're very energetic. If you've ever been, a lot of you guys are in Tampa. If you've ever been to Emily for a Lightning game, it is such an incredible atmosphere. We're all a family there. You're standing up. You're excited. Every time the puck is like within 20 yards of scoring, it's like everybody's standing up, you know? So we go to this game. Well, Nashville does it a little bit different. I actually think most people came for the country music.
Because here's what happened, and let me explain. During the first period, it was an electric atmosphere, and most of the stadium stood the whole first period.
Yeah, it was.
That's
it was
what
incredible.
There was fights in the first period.
Oh, my gosh, it was amazing.
Pat Maroon went out there,
Pat
spun
Maroon
in circles.
danced and shoulder
it was
grabbed.
Awesome. So what I am trying to say is that during the first period, electric atmosphere, it was wild.
Electric.
Then during the second period, it started off a little bit slow, but everybody at the beginning of the period was standing. So me and Ryan were sitting there and standing, and everybody else starts to slowly sit down one by one. And I was so locked into the game, having a good time, that I didn't realize that
tunnel vision.
We were the only ones standing in the whole section.
Now, I did realize completely, but I had to rep my boy. I had to stand with my boy. He's standing. 68,000 people are sitting, but
only two in the stadium.
We're standing.
Pretty much.
I thought they were going to put the camera on us, and they were just going to carry us out. I mean, I didn't know.
I had no idea. My feet were cold. It was like 35 degrees.
It was ridiculous.
I couldn't feel my toes. I was like, I'm standing and watching the game.
I had warmers everywhere.
So then from behind us, they were like, hey, you two, sit down. And I leaned over to Ryan and said, I'm not sitting down.
He did. And he said it even more gangster than that. You can't. He looked at me. He said, I'm not sitting down. And I was like, oh. I was like, okay, I'm not sitting down either then. But obviously, I'm not as big as him, so I have to also be concerned for my life. But so those were like 10 rows back. These two young, you know what? If they're watching, we love you, okay? But they're like, sit down, you in the gray hat, you in the blue hat. I had the blue hat, of course. You know, go Bolts. And he's just like, yo, I ain't sitting down. I'm like, dang, well, I'm not sitting down either. Well, then this guy that was one seat behind me, 2 seats over, this big old guy, the Nashville guy. I was going to call him a redneck, but you can't have a redneck in December in Nashville.
I never turned around and saw the guy intentionally, but
he's probably 350 pounds.
He sounded like he was massive. He sounded like Jabba the Hutt. It was that voice that he said, hey, I paid for these seats.
He did.
You guys suck.
He did. He's like, I paid just like you did. And I'm sitting there thinking, listen, how do I explain to my wife when I come home with 3 broken limbs, I went to a hockey game? You know, how am I supposed to explain that? But I'm standing with my boy. And so this guy, he's like, hey, you know, I paid for these seats. So I turn around and I look at him. Like, I look at him like this. And he's like, man, you blinkety blank, sit down. I paid for these seats, whatever. So I kept looking at him. Now, me, if you know me, I'm a happy guy, okay? I'm a happy guy. I have fun. I like to laugh, okay? So I just start laughing, looking at him.
The thing that makes me happy right now is the fact that you're holding your headphone like it's a cell phone.
Because I'm a DJ. Hello, can I talk to? No, listen. I'm looking at, and I'm like this. So I'm looking at him like this. And then he's like, you mother F, you know, whatever. I'm just like, and I just start laughing at the guy. So he jumps out of his seat. I don't know if I told you this. He jumps out of his seat to come and get. He's like, you gonna laugh at me, you son of a motherfucker? And he like jumps out of his seat to come get me. And his son, who was like probably 19, 18 years old, I think they were there together.
I heard that. He's like, Dad, no.
No, he does. He bear hugs the bear. You know what I'm talking about? The guy's like 400 pounds a bit. You know, he gets bigger every time I tell the story. And he's
next week he'll be at least
he'll be the fattest man in the world. But I mean, big diesel, not, you know. It grabs onto him, and he's like, no, Dad, no, don't do it, Dad. And the kid gets like wrestling his son to come get me. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm looking at him because I don't know what to do. You know, we're outnumbered. We may be able to take on 3-4 guys, but in 68,000, you know, and a lot of that Lightning people there were old people. So I'm not expecting Betsy Lynn.
What city were you at?
Nashville,
We
Tennessee.
were at 2 different games.
Well, the people that were sitting next to us were old people. Yeah,
everybody else
right.
could have been.
But they're not gonna run around the stadium
variety.
to come get it. I got like Grandma Betsy Joe and her, you know, 4th husband there. He's older.
You have no idea how many husbands
you know,
Betsy Joe had.
I'm just, you know, I'm talking. She was lit. But my point is, we weren't ready. So I'm just laughing at the guy, thinking to myself, whatever. And so eventually they calm down. Well, I sit down because I'm like, okay, well, I'm not gonna die. Like, I want to see the game, but I'm not gonna die.
Nah,
you know what I mean?
they started throwing stuff, and then I was like,
yeah, they did.
man, they're throwing stuff
The
now.
the douchebags up in the
I
10 rows behind us start throwing stuff, hitting him in the back.
I was like, I'm still not sitting down.
Yeah, he was like, if I die, I die in the stadium.
We stood up until the Lightning scored their next goal, and then I sat down.
Yeah, it was like we knew we were waiting for the Lightning to just get one back, and then we were like, okay, yeah, you suck. Here we go, we're done. And that was pretty much.
It was cool. There was a girl next to me, and she started staying there with me later in the game. And
Tampa.
She was like, "I'm not sitting down either."
She's from Tampa. She's like, "I'm supporting this." You know, I don't know if she'd have helped us against, Qui-Gon Jinn over in the back.
We'd be all right
over here, but we'd be all right. Anyway, that was story time from Nashville, Tennessee. The game was amazing. The Lightning won. Preds have a great team, but they played incredible forecheck.
Yossi, what a savage!
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Just gifted players around the league. But anyway, that was story time from Nashville. It was amazing. If you were at the Stadium Series game, make sure to click like, add a comment, maybe a story you have from the Stadium Series game or a picture from your guys'
There was lots
experience.
of Bolts there. Probably 20,000 Bolt fans.
It was probably more than that.
We took over the city. It was awesome.
Yeah, I have videos on Instagram of us going through the city. And, I mean, it looked like we were in Tampa Bay during a playoff game. I mean, it was like Lightning fans everywhere. And all that – we go into, like, the honky-tonks there, or bars for the uneducated country folk. And you go in, and it's like blue everywhere because the locals aren't going to go to the honky-tonk before the game. So it's just blue everywhere. So we thought we just like, this is it. We've got it. And we almost didn't have it, but we did. Turned out playing a really, really, really strong
It was good. They played
third
good.
period.